Rockies have swept the Dodgers in a 4-game series for only the second time ever and the first time since 1993.
And they've won 6 straight. And they end the 7-game winning streak of the Padres. They're within 3.5 in the wild card race.
And they roll on and keep pace in the wild card chase. They shut out the Dodgers 2-0 in Los Angeles. This wonderful, indescribable run continues. And tonight from the city we all love, the final 3 ball games of the year, the final home series. And people have lined up for hours to get tickets. The Rockies and Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rockies come in 87-72. They trail the Diamondbacks atop the division by 2 games. They're at 89-70. And good evening, everybody. Glad you're along. This should be a whirlwind weekend. I'm Drew Goodman. This city has been captivated by the Colorado Rockies over the last couple of weeks. They have won a Major League Best 11 straight ball games. And now they sit on the precipice of doing something that you have to go way, way back to find the last team to overcome the deficit the Rockies have and to make the playoffs. Now, there are all sorts of scenarios. We'll try to break them down for you as I bring in my partner, George Frazier. But I think the simplest notion is this. The Rockies, if they want to control their own destiny, go ahead and make it a 14-game winning streak.
Why not? Well, that's the best way, obviously. I mean, when you break it all down and show you graphically, Drew, I mean, if you win all 3, you don't have to worry about everything down below. You just forget about the wild card because you would win the National League West. Now, with the wild card, the Rockies go 3-0. You can see the scenarios. There's tons out there. And, oh, by the way, the Mets and the Phillies going at it to see who wins the East right now. This is the craziest 3 or 4 days of baseball that they've had in so long. And I just saw Laurel Preeb downstairs. I know you guys don't know who that is. That's Bud Selig's son-in-law. I said, how's Bud doing? He goes, he loves it. Wild card, all these races. He's got 5 TVs on. This is what he dreams of. This is what the fans dream of.
Yeah, you talk to some people like Laurel Preeb who've been in baseball for a long, long time. They don't recall ever having this kind of logjam this late in the season. It'll be a wonderful weekend right here at Coors Field. Tonight, game 1 between the Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Jeff Francis will have the baseball. Come on back with us.
It comes from stadium stairs at 5 in the morning, from suicides to your lungs scream uncle, and two-a-days when it's hot enough to fry an egg on your forehead. It's sweat, and there's more to sweat than just water. No wonder no water, no flavored water, no other sports drink on the planet helps put back what sweat takes out better than Gatorade.
Not all the energy for our fuel comes from oil in the ground. A lot of it comes from our people, who year in and year out put so much of their energy into everything they do. So you can be sure that when you put Valero gas into your tank, you're going to get a lot out of it. Valero, the energy to take you anywhere.
Stop! Go is out of used vehicles. So let's swap cars. We sold so many used cars at our super sale, we're desperate to buy yours. We'll even give you up to 120% of book value for your trade. Going on now at all 17 Go showrooms. Let's swap cars. Get up to 120% of book value for your trade. Go is out of used vehicles. So let's swap cars.
Baby, I'm ready to go.
The light's green. Go!
See the black paint? 3 up, 7 over. Growing up, you know, there's lots of scouts who told me that I'd never be able to play in the NHL because of my size. It's what has driven me to prove people wrong and to make them eat their words. See the big hole? 1 paint to the left.
Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. Visit southwest.com. They were lined up at dawn this morning trying to get tickets to this ball game and perhaps the one tomorrow and the one on Sunday. Early start, as the Rockies tend to do in September. A little bit earlier tonight, an hour earlier, but you look up in the rafters of Coors Field, a stadium that holds more than 50,000. The rock pile's already half full. The upper deck is filling up, and everybody on their feet with the Rockies running onto the field to warm up. Jeff Francis to begin his tosses to get ready for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bob Melvin's club was actually in town early last night. They got to watch the Rockies 10-4 win over the Los Angeles Dodgers because they had beaten the Pittsburgh Pirates earlier in the day 8-0. And here's the lineup for Bob Melvin, presented by Southwest.com. Chris Young with 32 home runs in the top spot. Then Justin Upton, Eric Burns had him a great year. Connor Jackson will bat cleanup. Then another rookie, Mark Reynolds. Chris Snyder's had a terrific second half. Steven Drew's a rookie at shortstop. Augie Ojeda is now the second baseman every day with the injury to Orlando Hudson, who's out for the year with torn ligaments in his thumb. And Brandon Webb, of course, will be pitching and batting ninth. And they'll face Jeff Francis. And George, you just hope history repeats itself with Francis, because he has owned the Diamondbacks in his career.
Yes, he has owned the Diamondbacks. He's owned Coors Field to go with it. 34 start for him. Command, of course, 26-12. 7-1 overall versus the Diamondbacks. I think one other thing that plays into Jeff Francis's hands, it's been a while. It's been all the way back to May 23rd, the last time the Diamondbacks had faced Jeff Francis. All of that's brought to you by Fidelity Investments. Start your investment portfolio today.
So here is Chris Young, a native of the Houston area, and strike one on the corner and big cheers. You couldn't have imagined this 2 weeks ago. Well, you could have imagined a big crowd because there's fireworks afterward, but you may not have imagined them arriving at 6 o'clock and making sure they were in their seats. Now they want to make sure they see this baseball game, and hopefully two more after this one. Game number 160 tonight. Here's the 1-1, and this ball's popped up to left field. One out. Let's take a look at the gloves tonight for Colorado. The only change in their lineup tonight versus the last couple of nights is in center field, where Corey Sullivan has kind of been switching off with Ryan Spilborghs depending on the starting pitcher. Hop in right, Holiday naturally in left, Atkins, Tulowitzki, Matsui, Helton, and Torrealba making his 7th straight start behind home plate. He will rest in the offseason. And that pitch is down low to Justin Upton. .226 average for Upton. And he chops this one foul.
Now, the key to Francis' success, obviously down in the strike zone. How about this? In the Rockies, 17 starts by Francis. They're 13-4 over those last 17. The National League wins by a left-hander. Francis leads it with 17. Lilly and Perez at 15 each. There's a host at 14.
That just missed off the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike. Veteran umpiring crew tonight, led by the crew chief behind the dish, Tim Cheetah. Jim Joyce at first, Jeff Nelson at second, Jim Wolfe is at third base. And it's fouled back. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Justin Upton. One of the interesting things, one of the many interesting things about this Arizona Diamondback club, usually a team that's got 89 victories, 19 over heading to the final weekend, has an everyday lineup, so to speak. On the ground to second. That's not the case with Arizona, not only because of injuries, but because of inexperience and at times lack of production. He has shuffled his lineup all over the place this year.
He has, yes, he has. Well, I want to go back to this graphic, the opening day open graphic here, when we talked about what the Rockies needed to do. If they go 3-0, the Diamondbacks 0-3, the Padres have to go 1-2. Right, and that's the only way the Rockies can win the title. To be able to do that, well, they can take care of the Diamondbacks on their own. They hope Milwaukee Brewers are able to handle San Diego over the weekend.
Well, there's so many permutations to this final weekend. It's really hard to figure out and calculate. It would take too long. But again, suffice it to say, as we did off the top, as Burns takes a strike, that the Rockies control their own destiny, and that if they win out, at the very least, they will be in a play-in game. And very possibly they'll have made the postseason if they win out.
Tonight's the one game you got to worry about, not Saturday and Sunday. You got to win tonight's ball game, because you lose tonight's game, you fall 3 back, no opportunity to win the West, and then it makes it difficult that if any one of those other 4 teams that are vying in a wild card, or 3 teams win, then it really sets you back there. Now you're 2 back against that guy.
And this is popped up. Troy Tulowitzki underneath it. And a very nice start for Jeff Francis. 1-2-3 through the Diamondbacks in the first. We'll come back. The Rockies will check in offensively.
I'm on the 415. Let's see what kind of plane you'll be on today.
Step over there and spin that wheel. Come on.
Come on, big plane.
Woo, big plane, big plane, big plane. Big plane, big plane. Hey, no. Small plane.
On Southwest Airlines, you'll never fly in a small plane. We guarantee every seat on every flight is on a big, comfortable Boeing 737.
You are now free to move about the country.
It comes from stadium stairs at 5 in the morning. From suicides to your lung scream uncle. And two-a-days when it's hot enough to fry an egg on your forehead. It's sweat. And there's more to sweat than just water. No wonder, no water, no flavored water, no other sports drink on the planet helps put back what sweat takes out better than Gatorade.
If you want it, here it is, come and get it. Make your mind up fast. If you want it.
The clock is ticking at the Chevy Time to Buy sale. For a few short days, get great deals on most Chevys. Hurry, time is running out.
Get $1,000 extra bonus cash on top of current offers like the 07 Malibu, Avail, Cobalt, and Impala. Use bonus cash for a total of $2,500 cash back on Impala.
Chevy, made for Colorado.
Again, we'll try to update you throughout the evening. The Diamondbacks lead the division by a game over the Padres, 2 games over the Rockies. The wild card right now, the Padres are in front of the Mets, Phillies, and Rockies. Now, the Mets are in the tank. They're losing 4-1 already to Florida in the bottom of the 3rd inning. That's Byung-Hyun Kim, by the way, against Oliver Perez. San Diego, Milwaukee just getting going. Everybody in this stadium, huge Brewer fans tonight, tomorrow night. And the first pitch from Brandon Webb in there for strike 1 on Kaz Matsui. Now, a lot of people in town picked up the paper today, and may have heard on television or radio that Webb was pushed back so he could face the Rockies. Bob Melvin pushed Brandon Webb back for one reason. I talked to him earlier. He was very concerned about weather yesterday. Didn't want to see Webb go out in Pittsburgh, throw 2 innings and have an hour-and-a-half rain delay and then lose it. Bullet up the middle for a base hit for Matsui.
Make that statement early. And exactly. I mean, why would you want a guy to go out and get completely hot in the bullpen, come sit down and get 1 or 2 innings in, and then you lose him? Lose him for the whole weekend. They didn't take that gamble, didn't have to.
Here's the batting order presented by Southwest.com. Tulowitzki in the 2-hole. Then Matt Holliday with unbelievable numbers everywhere, particularly at Coors Field. Todd Helton, a 2-run home run yesterday. Atkins, a 4-hit ball game yesterday, including a bomb. Brad Hopp went deep yesterday. Torrey Alba, Sullivan, and Francis. Matsui will draw a throw immediately from Brandon Webb.
I think the biggest difference in the Arizona Diamondbacks compared to when they were world champions and when they won the division over and over again is they have a solid #1 guy, and that's in Webb. Back then it was Randy Johnson, it was Kurt Schilling. They had 2 solid #1s. Now, not to take anything away from Livan Hernandez, not to take anything away obviously from Monings, who's won games, and against other people, Davies, who's won 13 games. But those guys were winning 18, 19 games, and they were doing it in dominant fashion. The way Webb has. 302 earned run average, that's second in the National League. Wins 17, tied with second with Francis and a few other guys. Complete games 4, that's first. Innings pitched first, shutouts first.
And he's a competitive guy like anybody. He's been kicked around by the Rockies this year. 5 starts. He's 0-3 with an ERA north of 6.
And at Coors Field in his career, he's 3-5 at Coors Field.
And Tulowitzki backs out. Now, Tulowitzki's done a marvelous job in the 2-hole. He's not the old-time prototype in the 2-hole. It's going to take a lot of pitches. Matsui did not go. Looked for a moment like he was going to take off. That pitch is outside, 1-1. Troy is 3 for 12 against Brandon Webb. Saw Mike Gallego in the picture. Matsui has a green light unless they give him a red light, which they rarely do. Not going, and this is popped up, and it's going to move over the Rockies dugout out of play, 1-2.
As we look at Brandon Webb's numbers on the Fidelity scouting report, 34 start for him, 17-10 overall. The earned run average at 3.02, 500 versus the Rockies, 0-3 versus the Rocks in 07. Drew and I talked about that. His career record 7-7. All of that's brought to you by Fidelity Investment. Start your investment portfolio today.
And this is softly hit, and it's gloved by Drew. Defensively, Arizona is a middle-of-the-pack defensive club. They've made more than 100 errors compared to 65 for the Rockies. Burns in left, Chris Young in center field, and the 20-year-old Justin Upton is in right field. Mark Reynolds at third, Stephen Drew at shortstop. A lot of ability there. Ojeda's done a very nice job with the glove. Connor Jackson at first. And Chris Snyder's thrown out 25% of would-be base stealers. And here is Matt Holliday.
Nice. How about that? The chants of MVP throughout the ballpark. You hadn't heard that yet here. Not with that many people involved in it. Boy, this is great to see this crowd in this ballpark.
Great to see this crowd anytime, but particularly when you look at the calendar and you see September 28th. There goes Matsui. Holliday takes the strike, and he's out at second base. One of the few times in his career Matsui has been cut down. It's the 4th time this year. Took a perfect throw.
It was a perfect throw, and then Matsui's slide into second base. See, I thought the foot got under the tag above. See how the foot was on the bag and then slid out over the top of this. This will tell you on the Hyundai cam, did the foot get there? Oh boy, bang bang play. Second base umpire Jeff Nelson.
And a 2-hopper to Stephen Drew. Low throw, and it's handled by Connor Jackson. So the Rockies get a hit from Matsui, but he gets thrown out for just the 9th time in his career. And we'll go to the second.
Of all the people in the world, there's only one you, and you relate to the world in your own way. The information you gather, the stories you share, the connections you make. Quest connects you to what matters, your way. We help you build a customized bundle with the quality services you need at a price that's right for you. Consider a bundle with a local phone package and broadband for as low as $57 a month. Call today for a free account review. Let us help you build your bundle. That's our spirit of service.
He said, "Hey man."
I said, "Yes."
He said, "Have you ever seen Miss Marceline Freeman dance to Duke?"
I said, "No, why?"
He said, "Because, man, the way that woman moves her body to his music is enough to make one believe in the possibilities of love again."
I asked him how he knew such things.
He said, "Because, man, she is my muse." Come meet our muse, Marceline the Journey. For ticket information, call 303-295-1759 or online at ticketswest.com.
For 20 years, the Public Education and Business Coalition has been helping teachers sharpen their skills so our students graduate prepared to compete in the 21st century. Investing in our teachers and our schools is the best long-term workforce strategy we have.
Working together, we can strengthen our schools, and great schools are critical to the economic power of a great city.
Visit our website or give us a call to see how you can get involved.
I agree with everything on those signs. Every one of them. All of them. The Rockies with a base hit Kaz was thrown out trying to steal a base, his 33rd of the year, only 4th time he's been caught. Let's take a look at Bert's Toyota's keys to this game. What you play for, man, as a little kid in the backyard with the wiffle ball games to everything else, to get to that promised land of the World Series, this is what you play the game for. These last 3, and I think with Francis, obviously, he's been a huge winner here in this ballpark. Hope that continues. And I think small balls at Coors. That sounds crazy, doesn't it, Drew? Small ball at Coors. But I think when you're facing a guy like Webb with a hard sinker, that's where you hit behind the runners. That's where you look for a lot of ground balls, just like they did against Eric Lowe the other night. All of that's brought to you by Bert Toyota.
Strike on Connor Jackson, 1-1. Most of the Diamondbacks don't have real pretty numbers against Jeff Francis. Connor Jackson 6 for 21, but 3 of those 6 hits home runs. Trying to move him off the plate, 2-1. In fact, Jackson's first 3 big league home runs all came, oddly enough, against Jeff Francis.
Trust me, Francis realizes that pretty quick. So you just try to stay away from that power zone. To me, it looks as if Jackson has moved closer to the plate. What I mean by that, closer to home plate, not closer out to Jeff Francis. He's still in the back, but that back leg slide open stance, a little bit closer on the front side.
Jackson didn't particularly like the call. Doesn't matter what he thinks. It's 3-2.
Now, the one thing about it with Cheetah behind the plate, he is going to call his own game. What's wrong with this pitch? Looked like it caught plenty of the plate on the outside corner block.
And that pitch missed away. So a leadoff walk for Connor Jackson in the second.
How about the year this guy's had? He wouldn't even be up if it wasn't for injuries. If Tracy doesn't get hurt, you never know who Reynolds is. He's probably still in Double-A hitting 17 home runs.
And Mark Reynolds made his debut against the Rockies, and he had a couple of hits that day, including a double. Drove in a couple runs. Reached base 3 times. There's a line drive past Tulowitzki. So now the Diamondbacks have something going here in the second, first and second. Tulowitzki was shaded up the middle.
Shortened up on a double play too in the middle of the infield. When the ball's hit, his positioning, they'll tighten it up and move in about 4 steps onto the dirt into double play position. Well, when they do that, it makes it difficult, obviously, to stay back where he normal position and to have a better shot at the baseball.
And Reynolds continues to swing a very good bat against the Rockies. 370 now since being called up. Chris Snyder has had a marvelous second half. He's a big reason why the Diamondbacks are on top of the division. This is bunted in the air. And a chance for a force out at third. What a play by Torrealba. What a gamble by Torrealba. As they get Connor Jackson. You know, he had to think quickly. George, at first, he's wondering if it's going to go foul. Then it gets caught up in the grass. He's going to try to catch it, obviously, first. Then he's wondering, is it going to go foul? And then he grabs it and says, I got the force.
Well, I think what helped him get the force is when it's hitting the air, your runner at second's got to freeze a little bit. When the ball's out in front like that, he's got to lock up and freeze because you don't know if somebody's going to catch it. And then on the fly, snap throw right on the money.
Beautiful play by Yorvi Torrealba. So first and second now. 1 out. Stephen Drew at the plate.
And the Rockies have made those kind of plays defensively through this 11-game stretch. And Tulowitzki's been ahead of the class on those plays.
You're talking about small ball. Chris Snyder, George, out of the 6-hole. Guy with 13 home runs asked to bunt in the second inning.
Well, it tells you something about what he's thinking. He knows he's not going to get many opportunities against Francis in this ballpark to score. And he doesn't think that his guy's going to give up many to look for a big inning.
And that's going to cost the Rockies a chance at an out. In fact, it probably would have been a double play ball. Instead, it turns into an infield hit. Now they're loaded up for Augie Ojeda.
It's a tough reaction for a pitcher because anytime the ball's hit back at you, obviously you want to naturally try to make a play on it. I think the thing on this ball that got Francis, look how he turned his glove inside. Instead of trying to just backhand the baseball, he sweeped at it and tried to cup the baseball in front. And then it ricocheted off to Kaz Matsui. But see Kaz coming in the background right there. He's probably got the double play, and you're sitting in the dugout. Well, you work out of it now. You're at the bottom of the order. The reason Ojeda is in the lineup, 364 average over his last 12 ball games.
Playing every day now with the injury to Orlando Hudson. Hudson with the club, his left hand's in a cast. He had surgery on the thumb. And that's on the corner. Now Francis thinking punch out, George. You have Brandon Webb on deck. If you can keep the ball out of play here, you have a great chance to wiggle out of this thing.
Yeah, no question you have a chance. If Francis is able to go to the outside corner, Cheetah gives it to him a little off of the plate for strike 2 call.
Sometimes to get a strikeout, Jeff Francis will go to the fastball but change the eye level, go up high with it. That's exactly what he tried to do there. Oh, 0-2 on Ojeda with the bases full of Diamondbacks, 1 out in the second.
Normally he doesn't pull the baseball, and he's more of a guy that just tries to stay behind the ball, drive it back up the middle. 17 of his hits have gone back up the middle. He's pulled the ball to the left minimal and then a little bit to the right side, but most of the hits right back up the middle.
Now, good news, Brewers have taken an early lead on the Padres.
When the crowd gets behind you like this as a pitcher, it helps you find a little bit extra at times. That ball way out in front. Torrealba, nice job to block that pitch with the runners, with a runner at third base.
Octavio Augie Ojeda from California originally, came up with the Cubs in 2000, also played in 2004 with Minnesota. First time back in the big league since 2004. Here's the 1-2. And he's hanging tough. Reynolds singled. He's at third base. Chris Snyder on a fielder's choice after a sacrifice attempt at second, and Stephen Drew the infield hit, standing at first base or in the general vicinity thereof. 1-2 on Ojeda. And it's pulled foul. Jeff Francis, over his last couple of ball games, 18 strikeouts and just 4 walks. Number 19 would look real pretty right now. Ojeda hitting out of the 8-hole.
Hanging tough too in the 8-hole. A lot of balls that he continues to foul off. Left, right. He's pulled the change up and the slow curveball foul into third base territory.
Line drive to right field. This will get a run home. And also moving up is Snyder from second to third. Reynolds crosses the plate. It's 1-0 Arizona, and that was an outstanding at bat by the 32-year-old veteran Augie Ojeda.
And again, that's what you would expect from him as an 8-hole hitter. A guy to give you a professional at bat because of what you just said. 30+ years old. He's able to been around the game an awful lot. And he realized and recognized the position that the team's in with the bases loaded and 1 out. Turned it into a very professional at bat.
And now Brandon Webb, who is not like Micah Owings, who threw yesterday for Arizona. Micah Owings, maybe the game's best hitting pitcher.
You see
might not be a
hacks?
lot of maybe about that.
I tell you, I watched him last night on highlight shows, and I was just like, holy cow, this guy's up here. Looks like Willie Mays swinging the bat.
Reminds me of that vice presidential debate some years ago. Lloyd Benson, Dan Quayle. I've seen Micah Owings. I know Micah Owings. He's a friend of mine, and you know Micah Owings. Brandon Webb, a career 107 hitter. Micah Owings, and talking to some people with the Diamondbacks, they believe he's a big league talent as a hitter.
There's another guy doing pretty good at that like that right now too, Rick Ankiel.
Yes.
So if he gets the what's that called, the shakes, like the putters, what is that?
The yips.
If he gets the yips on the mound, he's going to have a pretty good chance to do something else.
So Webb will strike out Victor. All things considered, a very good job by Jeff Francis. He gives up 1 run. The bases were loaded with 1 out.
My boy loves motorcycles, just like his dad. First things first, motorcycle safety. When I got hit, at least I knew who to call. The Law Tigers. Here it is. This card is as important as his safety gear. I've been carrying a Law Tigers card for years, and I want him to have one too. With the Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Get your free biker benefit card at your favorite motorcycle shop or online at lawtigers.com. America's injury lawyers who ride.
You better be careful out there the next couple weeks. You hear me?
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you know.
Two sides. Sooner or later, either you're gonna be with us or you're gonna be with the dealers. One family.
All the places, you gotta come to my place.
I'm done with you! Joaquin Phoenix, Mark Wahlberg, on October 12th.
Get down! Get down!
Two brothers collide.
Baby, you could be killed.
Wait!
We own the night. Rated R. In theaters everywhere, October 12th.
If you're looking for the hottest vehicles on the road, it's time to think Hyundai. If you're looking for 5-star safety-rated, fuel-efficient, award-winning vehicles, it's time to think Hyundai. If you're looking for 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty protection in vehicles that cost thousands less than their competition, it's time to think Hyundai. Like the 7-passenger Hyundai Santa Fe that gets better fuel efficiency than a comparable Toyota Highlander. And for a limited time, get $2,000 cash back on an 08 Hyundai Sonata. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Because whether it's for work or play, it's time to think Hyundai.
Hi, I'm Drew Goodman. Everyone thinks of AMCO when they have a transmission problem, but did you know they can fix about any problem your car might have? For your complete car care needs, think of my good friends at AMCO first. AMCO, AA, MCO. Well, for just the second time in the last 69 innings, the Rockies trail. 1-0 Arizona. We check in with Mark Stout. Mark.
All right, Drew, as we like to say in sports, a late arriving crowd here at Coors Field. The Rockies expecting big crowds this weekend. This season, 6 crowds of 48,000 or more. 3 against the Yankees in June, 3 against the Mets. That was in July. And then 1 against Chicago as Helton has a pitch that goes by him for the first pitch. The most ever here at Coors Field, 51,267. That was the All-Star game on July 7th of 1998. Well, the Rockies looking for big crowds this entire weekend against Arizona. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Mark, thank you. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's a late arriving crowd because many people are just getting off work with the 6:05 start time.
I'm thinking the sprint from downtown back to the house, get the kids, eat dinner, and get here. You get here about the 2nd or 3rd inning.
And Helton fooled. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, yesterday they worked away, and then Proctor tried to sneak a fastball in the inner half. Bad idea.
Real bad idea. You can see the location down and in to Todd Helton. This extended the lead of the Rockies as the Dodgers had just counterpunched in the bottom half of that inning, and then Helton expanded.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Helton leading off the second. Kaz Matsui led off the first with a base hit up the middle. Tulowitzki hit a soft liner to short, and then Kaz was thrown out trying to steal second. Holiday bounced to short. Now it's 3-2. That's one thing that the Rockies have been able to do with Webb. Not only have they squared up a number of pitches against him this year, but they've extended his pitch count, and they've worked out some walks against Brandon Webb. And that sinker not close.
Let's go back and look at Brandon Webb. He's had difficult times at Coors Field, and Brad Hopp's been a part of that in 5 starts, an 0-3 record versus the Rockies, and a .647 earned run average. Needless to say, highest earned run average, worst record against an opponent for Webb this year. Holiday's had a home run against him. His average has not been quite as high, but what Brad Hopp's done, he's in the on-deck circle. 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, has hit .314. Same type of pitcher as Derek Lowe, sinker slider. So, I mean, you know, when you look at that, Webb's only given up 12 home runs this year, 4 of them by the Rockies.
One and one. Atkins is the guy who's most notably struggled against Webb in his career. 3 for 26. That computes to a .115 average. Garrett's had to make a left-hand turn 7 times. 1-1 toward the hole on through, base hit. So the Rockies have put the first 2 men on here in the second.
Continued hot bat of Garrett Atkins after a 4-hit night last night. Sinker down and in, cleared the front side, got the head of the bat out early, and just shot it between Reynolds and Drew on the left side of the infield for a no-out base hit, first and second.
And now the guy that's, well, I don't want to say owned him, but he's had great success against him, shall we say that? Brad Hopp.
4 home runs, 11 RBIs, more than anybody else in the Rocky lineup around the Rocky Ball Club.
Yeah, .314 average. 2 home run game earlier this year for Hopp against Brandon Webb. This season, Cardell Homes is sponsoring Home Runs for Hunger. Each time a Colorado player hits one out, they'll donate $100 to the Food Bank of the Rockies. Check out CardellHomes.com. And this ball pulled to second. There's one, and on to first, double play. Well, that's the beauty of a guy that has a super sinker like Brandon Webb. He can get himself out of jams quickly. 1 pitch, 2 outs.
I like a lot of 2-out hits, though, but Torrealba's been a good job of doing that. This ball hit fairly hard right at Ojeda, but tailor-made. When hit that hard, obviously you can reduce the number of velocity on throws because everything's on target, everything's ahead of the runners.
Torrealba will try to come through with 2 outs and drive in Helton, who's at third. Interesting, I want to call it a shift, but infield alignment for Torrealba. Steven Drew is way over in the hole. Even with the bag is Mark Reynolds. And shading up the middle is Ojeda.
You know, Reynolds even with the bag, and then as he starts his excuse me, windup, Webb does, he takes 4 or 5 steps back. Watch what he does at third base this time. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I think what he's trying to do is let Torrealba know, hey, I saw you try to lay the bunt down the other night. I'm up here at the Baven with the bag, and as the pitch comes, there he goes. You know, he backs up about 8 to 10 steps behind the bag.
Some guys have a good sinker, George, and deuce ground balls. He's got at times a disappearing sinker. And when you think you got it,
SS,
you swing
man.
and you got nothing.
Super sinker.
Strikeout of Torrealba, so the Rockies' promising inning turns south quickly. We'll go to the third. The Diamondbacks leading 1-0.
Get a suit that fits. Men's Warehouse have suits starting at only $200. You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
These solar panels will produce 14,000 kilowatt hours of energy, enough to run the Rockpile LED board at Coors Field for 1 year. Join the Colorado Rockies in saving energy and visit accelenergy.com to learn how you can benefit from solar.
Comcast high-speed internet is fast no matter where you live.
But with DSL, the farther you are from the hub and/or central office, the slower your connection.
So that's why our DSL connection is so slow and/or not fast.
Yes, and/or duh. Sorry, and/or my bad.
Sign up for Comcast high-speed internet for just $24.99 a month for 3 months. 1-800-COMCAST.
How can you change a kid's life?
Just by playing catch.
It's as easy as that?
It's as easy as that. Play catch, come to a ball game, and eat some nachos.
Become a sports buddy, and not only can you play catch, shoot hoops, and attend sporting events, but you'll also change a kid's life forever. Check it out at denversportsbuddies.com, and check out the great deals at cheaperfords.com, where a 2005 Escape is just $12,900.
Join Sports Buddies and change a kid's life. It's game time.
Sports Science, only on FSN.
This run by the Rockies has captivated this city, this state, the Rocky Mountain region. And Coors Field continues to fill up on a Friday night, game number 160. With George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Mark Stout, downfield level. Chris Young in the third inning will lead it off. He had a pop fly to left his first time up. And that bunt's foul.
Good. You know, Wake kind of doing a favor. 32 home runs, 561 at bats for Young on this season, trying to lay down a bunt.
Oh, 2.
Had a batting average 235 after the first out in the first inning. Prior to that, against left-handers, right-handers, he hit 236, equal amount of damage.
Curveball, see you later. Nice job by Jeff Francis dispatching of Chris Young. He's now 0 for 7 his matchups with Jeff.
And the way you can get momentum back offensively is go out and handle the opposition's bats, and that's what Francis does early with Young on the Hyundai cam. See the great spin and rotation. Diving under the bat of Young, strike 3. Fooled him completely, way out on the front leg.
Here's Justin Upton, who is a month removed from being a teenager.
It's not a lot of fun when you're getting old, you know.
Gray hair, I'm sure, already. Softly hit the center field, and it's going to drop in front of Corey Sullivan. So Upton aboard for Eric Burns with 1 out. It's now 2-0 Milwaukee, leading the Padres in the second inning. See, Sheets couldn't go, George, and Chris Capuano has to go. Capuano, an all-star last year, fell out of the rotation not all that long ago with the Brewers.
Well, that's the thing, Ned Yost had a pretty short leash on him. You can think of the start. Remember the Rockies, he cruised 1, 2, 3, 4 innings, and then all of a sudden, as the rocks would start to fall and the runs would score, he'd just fall apart. I mean, just couldn't get out of innings.
Yeah, they're 2 back right now of the Cubs. The Cubs leading Cincinnati 4-0 in the 6th inning. And Burns fouls it off. Eric Burns, probably the team MVP of the Diamondbacks this year. He's got a .288 average, 21 home runs, 83 RBIs. He has stolen more than 40 bases.
How about that? 49 stolen bases, trying to get to that next plateau of 50. Only a couple of week look at him from the Rockies' perspective when he came here in a trade, but I didn't anticipate to ever see him steal 50 bases.
Well, you think 2020 guy, and he's been that before. But he has a chance to get 50 bags. 50 bags is a ton, particularly in this day and age. Outside, 1-1. Burns' .288 average represents the highest average of any player in the starting lineup for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rockies got a boatload of guys hit above that. Highest average on the team, Mike Owings, naturally, .339. Good pitch. 1-2. He pulls the string. His changeup is as good as you will see.
You don't know which way it's going to go. It could dive right. It could dive left. As a hitter, you try to anticipate it, but you just don't know what he's going to do with it. He has such great command of that in his secondary arsenal as he does his fastball. Well, great look at it there on the Hyundai cam.
That's a pull of muscle changeup. Eric Burns did a 180. 1-2, swung on and missed. So Francis strikes out Burns. And let's go to the Chevy Sports Desk and get a baseball update from Tim Ring. Tim?
Hey, Drew, you mentioned the Brewers taking that early lead. I've got the pictures to prove it. Already up 1-0 in the first. That's Corey Hart with the RBI single. 2-0 Milwaukee early at Miller Park. Drew, back to you.
They need help, Tim, because they trail by a couple of games in the Central. The Mets are getting beat by Florida 6-3 in the 5th inning. And the Phillies, man, oh man, you wonder if they'll lose again. People saying the same thing about the Rockies. The Phils, they wrote their obituary, the Philadelphia writers, most of them at least, 2 weeks ago when the Rockies were in Philadelphia, and the Rockies took 2 of the first 3 in that 4-game set. Phils are done. Let's look ahead to next year. What changes will there be?
Fire Charlie.
Et cetera, et cetera. Now what are they writing?
Fire Willie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how about the Cubbies? They jumped out behind Sobrano 4-0 in Cincinnati. The Cubs have sent 5 scouts here to watch this ball game. The Mets have 4. Philadelphia with 3. The Rockies have dispatched scouts to Milwaukee.
This ball's hit well to left field, really well. And it's going to get on out of here. Connor Jackson has done it again against Jeff Francis, his 4th career home run against Francis. And now it's 3-0 Diamondbacks. And this is so strange, George. It's a very unfamiliar situation, at least of late, for the Rockies being behind.
It's only been 1 ball game in there, right, in the last 11 that they've fallen behind early in games, if I'm not mistaken. I showed and talked about that last night. Now trying to run heat in, and it just stayed out over the plate. But watch there. See what he ended up doing with his bat? Tell you what he did. And that was a high fastball that was going to cut in on Connor Jackson. Orlando Hudson sitting in the dugout. I mean, you know, he's become assistant coach, cheerleader, advisor, help, all you can. Watch his front side right here. Watch how everything opened up to allow that bad head to get there. And man, did he have some drive off that back leg. Hitting it out of the ballpark, his 15th home run.
And Jeff has fallen behind Mark Reynolds 3-0.
Supposed to.
And this ball's hit well to left field. Near the line, Holiday in the corner makes the catch. And that'll end the 3rd inning. But it was a productive one for the Diamondbacks. 2-run home run from Connor Jackson. And the Rockies in the middle of the 3rd trailing 3-0.
We're not going to make it.
Can you get us to the airport in 15 minutes?
Is this worth it?
It's still cheaper than a change fee if we miss our flight.
As with all airlines, it may cost more to rebook your flight, but on Southwest, we never charge an additional fee.
You are now free to move about the country.
Book your passage on Titanic, the Artifact Exhibition. Now at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science.
With work, school, and other autumn activities, there's just no time to cook. So come to KFC for a big 10-piece double mash meal, just $16.99. You get 10 pieces of the Colonel's Finger-Lickin' Good original recipe or delicious extra crispy chicken, plus 2 large mashed potatoes with gravy, large coleslaw, and 5 buttermilk biscuits. And all this great food, the 10-piece double mash meal, is just $16.99. Now that's value. And while you're there, pick up a famous bowl now at KFC.
Brian's profile definitely jumped out at me, and I was excited to get to know this person better.
Every year, thousands of singles like Amy and Brian get matched on eHarmony.com.
And, you know, we were matched on as many compatibility levels as we could.
Aren't you curious to see who you're compatible with?
I think it's extremely important to be open-minded to every single match that you get, and you could find the love of your life.
Log on to eHarmony.com today and review your matches absolutely free.
Corey Sullivan steps in as the Rockies trail 3-0 in the third. Sullivan, Francis, and Kaz Matsui. Webb has allowed 2 hits and walked a batter. The Rockies have had trouble elevating the baseball against Webb. He's got that good sinker going.
Well, that's the thing about him, and that's why I said in that scouting report, in keys to the game, in my opinion, I think you just got to play small ball. You got to slap things, run, make him get off the mound, feel the baseball.
Nice play by Ojeda, and he'll throw out Sullivan. This October, baseball's best will move on to the postseason for a month of unscripted, thrilling, and gut-wrenching moments to see which team will be crowned a champion. Coverage of baseball's postseason begins October 12th with the ALCS followed by the World Series only on Fox. Francis takes a strike on the outside corner. Jeff, a .235 hitter in the second half this year. 177 overall. Fouled it off his foot. And the 1-2 to Francis. Down low, 2-2. And 3-2. But one of the leaders of the Arizona Diamondbacks is not available to play. There's Orlando Hudson, but Orlando's a wonderful personality, and it is not that injury, the surgery to his thumb, not keeping him as Francis singles up the middle on a 3-2 pitch. I was watching Mike Owens yesterday, but it's not keeping him from being involved. In fact, I had a nice conversation with him before the ball game. He said, I'm the manager now. He said, Bob Melvin's my assistant. He said, you watch me. I'll be giving signals to the infielders, to the third base coach. He goes, I'm moving people. He goes, you got to have a good assistant, and that's what Bomel is. He's my assistant. And not only that, he has his own fungo, and he throws the ball up with the cast, and he hits ground balls during batting practice. Well, Lee Tinsley, who's the first base coach, has a couple of fungos, and he initially lent him one as Kaz Matsui came up. And he said, no, I'm taking this job seriously now. And he ordered his own fungo. Well, it wasn't on the trip initially when they arrived in Pittsburgh. So he called back to Phoenix, and they sent him his fungo. So he had his own fungo.
It's like getting your shipment of bats in midstream of a road trip, right? He got his fungo, and now, well, the thing about it, see, now managers lean on it and talk to the media. He can lean, see, like the manager, talk to the media.
Lee Tinsley didn't even know. He goes, no, he borrowed mine. He left it at home this time. I said, no, he just showed it to me. It's got his name on it. And so he went over. He said, "Did you have that sent out?" He said, "Yep." Outside, 2-1 on Matsui. Great personality, Orlando Hudson, and he has been, along with Eric Burns and Tony Clark, certainly, three big cogs in kind of nurturing the kids. Down the left field line. Jeff Francis taking a look. Burns has it go by him. Francis will get a stop sign at third. A double for Kaz Matsui. Now, anybody but Jeff Francis, or any other starting pitcher for that matter, probably would have scored in that situation. Matsui 2 for 2 now against Brandon Webb. And Troy Tulowitzki will come up with 2 out there.
How about this? The ball is sliced right by Reynolds. He's even with the bag, but Burns thinks he could cut it off with that slide jump on the baseball, and it goes right behind him up against the wall. Francis sees into third. Here's another look at Burns, thinking that he could cut that thing off versus letting it run around. We didn't know if they'd try to score Francis or not. Second and third and 1 out.
Here comes the crowd, 50,000 strong. Tulowitzki bounces it foul. And now you look around, and all those folks that were scrambling to leave work early have arrived. There is an area, an empty seat to be found. Rockies down 3-0. Tulowitzki hard on the ground to short, and now they have Francis hung up. Ooh, I'll tell you what. I mean,
he made it a lot closer.
They get the out call, but it was pretty close play at the plate. Well, Jeff Francis, not accustomed to running the bases.
Well, he just got hung. See, he started to come out and then he froze on it. But Drew did a good job. What he did, he acted and turned as if he's going to first with it, and that's when Francis started to make the break. Then it's too late.
Watch where the tag is by Snyder.
Ooh, see, that's all the way up on the hip. Tim Cheetah behind the home plate umpire. Seen an awful lot of, but anytime the ball beats the runner that much to the plate, a lot of times you get that call. Well, you're not out of the woods yet. Matt Holliday, MVP candidate, first and third, one swing ties it.
Up the middle, base hit for Holliday. So Matsui comes around for the Rockies' first run. And it's 3-1. RBI number 133 for Matt Holliday. And that takes a little of the sting away from the base running gaff.
No question. You're able to back that up as they have this last 11-game road. Well, really, all year long, that when you do have a mistake made at times, you go ahead and take care of business. Now, look back at this thing on a Hyundai cam, sinker down and in. Holliday, much like Jackson, clears everything off that front side. It just takes it right back up the middle for a base hit. Drew mentioned his 133rd RBI of the season.
And now Todd Helton, who walked his first time. And that is a fair ball. Jackson tags the bag. Rockies get a run on the base hit by Holliday. It's 3-1 Diamondbacks.
Take me out to Esurance. Take me to Savings Online. Auto insurance that's hassle-free. When you buy it instantly, let me quote, buy with that Esurance. If you don't save, it's a shame. For it's $100, $200, $300 you could save with the Esurance name.
Save time and money on your auto insurance at Esurance.
September is Hispanic Heritage Awareness Month at Coors Field. For the 5th year, the Rockies will honor finalists for the Hispanic Adult Leadership Award throughout the month, with the winner announced prior to the Saturday, September 29th game. Also, we'll get a glimpse of our future leaders when we honor the winners of the 5th annual Youth Essay Contest. So get your tickets now for the Rockies and Diamondbacks game on September 29th, and you'll be helping us honor some very special leaders and future leaders of our community. Taco Bell, game reset in the first inning. Jeff Francis, actually this wasn't the first inning, this was the second inning. Sac fly off the bat of Augie Ojeda. That made it 1-0. Then the third inning, the old nemesis of Jeff Francis, Connor Jackson with his 4th career home run against Jeff with a man aboard. 3-0 at that point, and then Matt Holliday would bounce one up the middle to drive in a run a few moments ago. So it's 3-1 as we go to the top of the 4th inning. Drew Goodman, George Frazier. Rockies have won 11 straight. And this final weekend so wild in that the Rockies have a chance, if things go really well, to end up with the best record in the National League come late Sunday afternoon. And they also obviously have an opportunity, if things don't go well, to be watching the postseason come early next week.
Florida 7-3 over the Mets right now. Milwaukee, San Diego, that's 2-0. Milwaukee, the Cubs still more than 4-0. That ball game in the 7th. We talked about trailing in this ball game, how unusual it was for the Rockies. Think about this. They've only trailed one of the last 68 innings played prior to tonight.
Hard on the ground and help. And Chris Snyder's retired. Let's go to the Chevy Sports Desk again, get another update from Tim Ring. Tim?
Hey, Drew, here's an update on that Nationals-Phillies game. Chase Utley with his team already up 2-0. The double here put the Phils up 3-0 over the Washington Nationals. Drew, back to you.
Phillies going one way and the Mets going another as they trail 7-4 now in the bottom of the 5th inning. Stephen Drew. Drew hit that ball in the 2nd inning, George. That I think would have been a double play ball potentially that was deflected off the leather Jeff Francis and ended up being an infield hit. And then behind him, Augie Ojeda had that long at bat and finally hit the sac fly to right. Two and one. Drew's picked it up of late, 8 for his last 15 at the plate. You know, coming into the ball game, a lot of people have talked about this around the country, and we've talked about it. I've brought it up on a couple of broadcasts the last 4 or 5 weeks. How perplexing the Diamondbacks are when you break down some of the numbers. Nobody hitting over 300. A lot of their kids hitting the 230s. In the air to left field, fairly deep. Holliday steps shy of the track. And the biggest number that jumps off the screen at you is that they're 19 games over 500, yet they've been outscored coming into this ball game by 11 runs overall.
Bullpen, starting pitching, big hits when you need them late in ball games.
I think that's more than anything. I mean, guys hit 230, but when you need a hit, all of a sudden they get it. I mean, Young's got a lot of home runs. He's hitting 236. Upton's a puppy. He's hitting 226. Stephen Drew just made that out. He's at 236. Chris Snyder, a great second half, but he's still overall at 255. There's the 1-0 to Ojeda. And that's popped up shallow left field. And another 1-2-3 inning for Francis, his first since the first inning of the ball game. 3-1 Arizona.
Hear about Fensky? No. Got hurt, missed work. Thought his major medical was enough. Poor guy. Didn't have Aflac.
What does Aflac do?
Let's say this is major medical, right? Well, see the hole? That's where Aflac comes in. Helps pay for groceries, rent, all kinds of bills. Major medical? Poor Fensky. He thought he had enough coverage.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Remember last week when you hit Vinny in the head with the shovel?
I do not recall that.
It was too graphic for the kids, so I'm gonna have to block you.
You know, I gotta make this up.
That's really not necessary.
This is Vinny's wife.
When it comes to planning for the future, trust Country Insurance and Financial Services to keep you moving in the right direction. With down-to-earth, straightforward advice, Country Insurance and Financial Services is always there to keep you on the right path. Country, real answers for real financial security. For your family, for you, for a lifetime.
This is our country.
See the black paint? 3 up, 7 over. Growing up, you know, there's lots of scouts who told me that I'd never be able to play in the NHL because of my size. It's what has driven me to prove people wrong and to make them eat their words. See the big hole? 1 paint to the left.
Hey, you're not alone in loving Tulo. 3-1 Arizona. I like that color, George. And it seems to be it's catching on.
Well, yeah, it's catching on, and everybody's starting to wear it around in the park, and he can't turn around. Brian's working right now, but he's got I Love Tulo on the back of his green shirt, too.
Yeah, he's got the FSN Rocky Mountain there on the front. Brian Peters, if he would turn around, has the I Love Tulo on the back. Garrett Atkins, a base hit his last time up. Atkins, Hop, and Torrealba with the Rockies trailing by a couple of runs in the fourth. 2-0. We're talking about run differential, George. Since 1969, the only team to win the World Series while being outscored in the regular season. You should know the answer.
Minnesota Twins.
Minnesota Twins in 1987. One out. Let's take a look at our Affleck trivia question. What is the fewest number of wins for a National League wildcard team in a full 162 game season?
Oh, was it the Florida Marlins? Got in 97, was it, with Leland?
I'm not sure. Good guess. That's a strike, 1-1. I'll tell you a number up on the board I don't like right now, George, and that is 47. As in, Webb has thrown only 47 pitches so far with 1 out in the fourth.
I see that start to climb a little bit. Hop swings and misses. It's strike 2. Yeah, that's a number you'd like to see at about 60 right now in the fourth, because you let him get comfortable in this ball game. It tells you he's going to work into the 8th inning on most games when he's only at this number this early in the game. With 1 out already in the fourth.
1-2, and that's a base hit to right center field. The Rockies are throwing their hits out there. They have a half dozen. And with 1 out, Torrealba will come up. If you have a break in your windshield, bring it to Elite Auto Glass, #1 for more than one reason. Torrealba, 7 home runs, 46 RBIs. Yorvit with a hit in 6 of his last 7 ball games. 8 of his last 14 hits have gone for extra bases. That would work well right here. But not going to happen. Well, Webb's got the super sinker going. Torrealba spikes his helmet. That's a second double play turn behind Webb tonight. 3-1 Arizona.
On your wedding day, when everyone is looking at her, she'll be looking at you. So rent your tuxedo at Men's Warehouse and you'll look almost as good as she does. You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
enough, so you might want to get home to those air conditioners.
At the end of a long, hot day, grab the beer that starts out cold and ends up refreshing. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
When work, school, and autumn activities leave no time to cook, come to KFC for a 10-piece double mash meal. 10 pieces of chicken, 2 large mashed potatoes with gravy, large coleslaw, and 5 biscuits, just $16.99. And while you're there, pick up a famous bowl, now at KFC.
Right now, the wild card race is on fire.
A game for the ages.
Who's going to do it?
Can you believe this team?
Well, time is running out, and October's getting close.
The Phillies have won it. Tigers win.
And not everyone is invited. You think these guys don't know that?
What a wild ride!
When the music stops, you better have a seat.
The magical season continues!
There's only one postseason. There's only one fall classic. There's only one October.
Here's the Duck. Here's our Affleck trivia question one more time. What is the fewest number of wins for a National League wildcard team in a full season?
Affleck!
And the answer, 88 wins. The Dodgers last year. That's when they finished in a tie with the Padres. The Padres had the better season record, and the Padres won their second straight division title. The most wins for a wild card, 97 wins by the 1999 New York Mets. Brandon Webb struck out his first plate appearance, and he takes a pitch off the plate, ball 1. Diamondbacks have been a solid road team this year, 39-39. Up the middle, tough chance for Tulowitzki, and he makes it. Man, oh man, is he special. Night after night, play after play. Some you say there's no way he can't do this one. And he says, hold on a second, yes, I can.
Yeah, I can too. He loves the challenge of trying to go and cut the baseball off. It's the angles that make him special, then the arm strength that he displays after that. And it may not look very balanced, but it continues to be balanced.
And he always throws a strike no matter what the arm angle. Esurance Inside Information, the Rockies fielding percentage, .98946, the all-time record, .98910 by the Red Sox. If the Rockies can play errorless baseball, or even if they throw an error out there in the next couple of games, I think they're going to set the all-time record for fielding percentage. That is something else.
What's amazing, you look around the crowd and you see people talking and say, man, he just flipped it. He just got there and just flipped it. You see him doing the motions that Tulowitzki does. Out at shortstop. You know, Napi Perez won a Gold Glove here as a shortstop. Everybody thought he was pretty special, and Napi was at that time. But this kid, I tell you what, it's incredible just to watch him over and over and over again, and what he does. I mean, you watch his body, and as big and thick and strong as he is, he really has the ability to put himself in some positions to catch baseballs and then just make very strong, balanced throws.
Chris Young with a base hit.
Los Angeles, Drew, we said he'd make this play, then you go, I've never seen another play like it. And then you can see another play, and you go, I've never seen anybody do this either. And we're talking about guys like Ozzie Smith and the ability. That play right there, look how he put his hands down. See the bare hand go down, folks, which helps balance, helps him pop himself right back up again, and then make the throw to first base. His instincts off the charts.
That misses, ball 1 on Justin Upton. If he was 5'10", weighed 170 pounds, you'd say, man, he's got great range. Then you look at him and you say, wait a second, he's 6'3" and he's 215 pounds. How does he have that kind of range? Not to mention maybe the best arm strength of any shortstop in the game.
I'll tell you, another guy that makes a lot of plays with a lot of range, Jack Wilson with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's 5th among National League shortstops in fielding percentage, which Tulo leads it. And then a guy named Vizquel that obviously he's pretty good. Rollins and then Khalil Green.
And then got an update from Milwaukee, George. The Padres have scored twice. They've tied up the Brew Crew.
Capuano still pitching.
Actually, they've gone ahead now 3-2. Wild card, Mets, Phils, Rocks trailing the Padres. And the Padres were down 2-0. Now they lead. If they go to the postseason, they're going to remember one play more prominently than any other, and that was the one swing of the bat by the slumping Brian Giles against Brian Wilson in San Francisco, and it looked like the Padres were going to lose their fifth consecutive game.
Nothing to take anything away from Robles, but man, if Wilson just goes after Robles, who was hitting before Giles at least has a chance to do what he did. Robles has no chance to hit a ball out the way Giles did, and they seemed to pitch around him in that situation.
Wow, Brian Wilson just couldn't find the plate.
Well, he's the guy they moved into that closer's role, took Hennessy out. Hennessy had 14 straight saves till he pitched here at Coors Field for the Giants. And then they said, you know, this is the closer of the future. We got to give him an opportunity, and that's what Wilson was out there to do, and he couldn't convert. It's been a long time, too, that San Francisco Dodgers series this weekend in L.A., that it has not had some type of meaning for baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. 1-2 count on Justin Upton. Chris Young with very good speed is at first. Young has stolen only 6 bases this year. He's been caught 5 times. Actually, let me correct that. I looked at the wrong category. He's stolen 26 bases. Thought he had more than that. There he goes. Strikeout at the plate. Young steals it standing up. So there are 2 outs. Young is now in scoring position for Eric Burns.
Watch the batter Young here after the strikeout. Watch this, Drew. Watch what he does. Here's swing and a miss. I mean, and let's see what happens. I mean, Upton, excuse me. See, I got out over in front of Torrealba. That was pretty close.
Borderline interference call.
I mean, that's really, really, really pretty close.
Kind of hang that bat over the middle of the plate on the backside. Eric Burns, a pop out and a strikeout. Big out here. 3-1, and he's going to get it. In the inning, a single and a stolen base from Chris Young. He's left at second. Middle of 5. The Diamondbacks continue to lead 3-1.
Step into the cage for Rockies baseball on FSN Rocky Mountain. It's been a season to remember as the Rocks get ready to battle the Diamondbacks. Will the final game be the most memorable of all? Diamondbacks, Rockies, tomorrow at 12:30 on FSN.
Ooh. Oh.
Want to get away? Now you can. Starting November 4th, fly Southwest Airlines' new nonstop service from Denver to Amarillo or Albuquerque for $49 or Austin for $79.
You are now free to move about the country.
These solar panels will produce 14,000 kilowatt hours of energy, enough to run the Rockpile LED board at Coors Field for 1 year. Join the Colorado Rockies in saving energy and visit accelenergy.com to learn how you can benefit from solar.
How can you change a life?
How about donating your old car?
How can a car change a life?
Or that old truck, minivan, or SUV?
By donating your vehicle to Cars Helping Kids, you'll help fund programs that change kids' lives. Plus, you'll get a tax break, free tow, and just for calling, a $1,000 voucher from our automotive partners, Freeway Ford and Longmont Ford. Check out over 600 new and used online at cheaperfords.com. Call 303-433-3666.
Donate your car and change a kid's life.
When work, school, and autumn activities leave no time to cook, come to KFC for a 10-piece double mash meal. 10 pieces of chicken, 2 large mashed potatoes with gravy, large coleslaw, and 5 biscuits, just $16.99. And while you're there, pick up a famous bowl now at KFC.
Rockies trailing 3-1, bottom of the 5th inning. Sullivan, Francis, and Matsui. In the 3rd inning, Sullivan led off with a ground out to second base, but it was the 3rd inning that the Rockies scored their only run. Jeff Francis actually got the rally initiated with a 3-2 base hit up the middle. Rockies have out-hit Arizona 6-5, but trail 3-1. Good eye, 2-0. Rockies over their last 50 home ball games, 36-14. That is the best mark in baseball during that span. And this is looped to center field. Young was playing shallow, and he'll get there. Let's go to the Chevy Sports Desk again. Tim Ring with another update.
All right, Drew, back to Milwaukee, and back come the Padres. Brady Clark, the base hit here. That would score a run. Padres take their first lead of the game, up 3-2 here in the 4th. Drew, back to you.
All right, Tim, again, the Mets and Phils even for the moment. Phillies could be on top in that division at the end of the ninth. First pitch to Francis is down low. Padres lead the Rockies by a game behind the Diamondbacks. Well, Corey Hart just hit a home run, a solo shot to tie it for Milwaukee.
Question.
Now in the 8th inning, quickly, George, the Cubs leading Cincinnati 4-0.
Question. Jerry DiPoto, who worked here for a number of years as a scouting supervisor for Dan O'Dowd at the big league level, but he also covered our club and a minor league club. Josh Burns worked here for a long time, now the general manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Their club plays our club different defensively than anybody else. And you know, it makes you wonder, is it because of their, you know, how familiar they are with these guys and how they would pitch them over the course of time and the positioning? Because, I mean, Corey Sullivan's got a little bit of pop, but I mean, Young's sitting here going, all right, he's just standing, you know, I mean, he like he had it in his hip pocket.
And you know what? There's probably a lot to what you said, George, but I also look at the overall numbers, and this is game 16, and the Rockies are 8-7 this year against Arizona. So, you know, Arizona may have taken some hits away, but the Rockies obviously are doing something right also, in that they've won more than they've lost against Arizona this year. 2 outs. That'll bring up Kaz Matsui. A single and a double so far in the ball game for Kaz.
When you donate the old car, truck, or SUV, Cars Helping Kids, you can change a kid's life. Not only would you donate the vehicle, do you get a free tow, a tax break, and a $1,000 voucher toward the purchase of a new or used vehicle from Freeway Ford in Longmont Ford. For more information, go to carskids.com or cheaperfords.com.
Both corners in, and that pitch is in there for a strike. Matsui's now 11 for 24, 458 average against Brandon Webb. I was talking to Josh Burns for a while this afternoon, and he feels like the 2 best offensive teams in the National League. He didn't pick which he thought was number 1, but he thought the Phils and Rockies were 1 and 1A. Webb a 1-2-3 fifth. We move on. 3-1 Arizona.
If you want it, here it is. Come and get it. Make your mind up fast. If you want it.
The clock is ticking at the Chevy Time to Buy sale. For a few short days, get great deals on most Chevys. Hurry, time is running out.
Well-qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on all 2007 Chevy Silverado half-ton crew cabs.
Chevy, made for Colorado.
is live. Music Go Round's Battle of the High School Bands Rockfest at Fat City. Rock out with local high school bands, competing for $2,000 in prizes, including recording time and music equipment. It's Music Go Round's biggest Rockfest of the year at Fat City, and it's open to the public. Music fans everywhere will thrill to the raw sounds of these great high school bands. Don't miss the excitement during the High School Rockfest at Fat City, September 29th. Sponsored by these great businesses.
Tonight's game, next on the FSN Live Chevy postgame report.
Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Chevy. Visit your Colorado Chevy dealer during the Chevy Time to Buy sale. Get a Silverado Crew Cab with 0% APR for 60 months. Offer ends October 1st. By Del Vostro, a new suite of computing solutions designed just for small business. Customized technology, services, and expertise. Visit Dell.com/WeBelieve. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher, Gatorade, is it in you? And by Hyundai, where cost doesn't come between you and safety.
And the one guy with the biggest blow in this ball game, a 2-run home run back in the third to left field, Connor Jackson. That was on a fastball that was up in the strike zone versus where Francis wanted it. See the mistake made. Bell tie with an upright stance like that. Guys like that like the ball up in the zone.
He's going to get him this time on a ground ball to Matsui.
And I'll say this about Jeff Francis, or any pitcher that pitches at Coors Field: if you work into the 6th and you've given up 3, you should win a lot of those ball games. Some nights you get on the other side of the coin, you get a guy like Webb that can make it difficult to try to get anything going score-wise.
Now, at least so far, this is the best Brandon Webb has performed against the Rockies this year, and this is his 6th start against them. Mark Reynolds hits it in the air to deep center field, way back and off the base of the wall.
Boy, did Corey Sullivan play that perfectly. He glanced up at it a lot of times, and I watched the outfielders as they make a move on a ball, and as he started to move, he stopped to jog and then really just moved his direction to the angle of the wall where he thought the ball would come in. I think off the bat he felt this ball was either in the seats or it was going to be off of the wall. Watch now, he's going to redirect and come, just redirect and come right over in the middle. Catch the baseball, and then a really strong throw into second base to Tulowitzki.
This is hit better than Corey thought, and he's still going to make the catch. And no tag from Mark Reynolds at second base. Sullivan stood there initially and said, wait a second, this thing's really hit pretty well. Great catch by Corey. He can play center field. He really can play center field.
Well, he can really correct mistakes. And kind of there where he just froze, locked up, and then the ball continued to carry. Watch Corey up here in center field. Ball's hit, you're going to see him, well, he'll freeze up a lot, and then once he makes a read on the baseball, he'll get back into position. He was so good, he disappeared, and then he came back in. Reynolds, not a good job of running the bases. You know, I mean, that really isn't. Ought to be, he's going to score anyway if it's out, obviously, right? If it's off the wall, he's got a pretty good chance to score again, too. Go tag up.
I'm amazed how many times you see big leaguers do that, George. Ball, very deep in the outfield, and they go a third of the way, and then they run back to tag. 1-0 on Stephen Drew, and this is a base hit. Hop coming quickly, and he had trouble getting it out of his glove. Safe at the plate is Reynolds. Going to second is Drew. It's 4-1 Arizona. Well, this is Arizona at their finest. Guys maybe not with the highest average, but they come through when necessary.
And left on left, too. I mean, Drew's a left-handed hitter facing a left-handed pitcher in Francis. And then he just ricochets this thing to right field. Watch when this ball gets out here. Hop had to wait on the hop. Was what it ended up getting him versus charging the baseball. He got caught in between hops, and he didn't want the ball to get by him. So he had to wait. That got flat-footed, then too difficult to throw.
With a runner in scoring position and first base open, the Rockies will walk Ojeda. And they'll deal with Webb 4-1, which in this ballpark is far from an insurmountable lead. The way Brandon Webb is throwing, and the fact, George, and we touched on it 2 innings ago, and we should revisit it, the fact that he has thrown just 62 pitches in 5 innings.
Yeah, you think about that, folks. You're averaging 12 pitches an inning. It's not that the Rockies are that aggressive. He's just pounding the strike zone over and over and over again. The Rockies have 6 hits, but only 1 run, 2 double plays turned in the game.
With any starting pitcher of his ilk, you want him out of there. You don't care how good the bullpen is, how many name arms they have down there. The bullpen has been very good by and large for Arizona this year. But you'd rather face them than this guy. And right now, because of the low pitch count and his effectiveness, looks like he's going to be out there for a while. Strike 1 on Webb. Ball and a strike. Arizona through the years has been very competitive here at Coors Field, 39-43. Overall, they're 92-74 against the Rockies. Fouled off 1-2. They're trying to nail down their 4th division title.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
When it's really impressive when you consider they started in 1998
with the World Series and World Championship already against the New York Yankees.
2001. Drew at second. Ojeda at first. And the strikeout of Webb. In the inning, Stephen Drew knocks in Mark Reynolds, who had doubled with 1 out. 4-1 Arizona, middle of 6.
Want a big eat for a tiny price? That's huge. Tackle your hunger with the Pizza Hut Pizzone. Over 1 pound of cheese and toppings for just $5.99 or 2 for $10.99. Get way more. Get America's favorite pizza, Pizza Hut, now online.
It comes from stadium stairs at 5 in the morning. From suicides to your lungs scream uncle. And two-a-days when it's hot enough to fry an egg on your forehead. It's sweat. And there's more to sweat than just water. No wonder, no water, no flavored water, no other sports drink on the planet helps put back what sweat takes out better than Gatorade.
Did you just double dip?
You know it.
Pizza Hut's Dippin' Strips Pizza. Designed with 16 strips, custom made for dipping, and 3 tasty sauces. Get a 1 topping for just $9.99 from America's favorite pizza. Pizza Hut, now online.
Smoking fastball. Sweet changeup. Smooth slider. Oh, yeah. Hanging curveball. Cuban? No, I'm Canadian.
Rockies trailing 4-1. They have 12 outs to work with. As we go to the bottom of the 6th, it'll be Tulowitzki, Holiday, and Helton. And let's visit again with Mark Stat. Mark?
All right, Drew, neat story about Tulo, who's about to step into the batter's box. Read this in Sports Illustrated. He grew up in Sunnyvale, California. In 5th grade, his teacher, Mr. Walker, handed out a questionnaire to the students. Said, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? He wrote down he wanted to be a football player. Mr. Walker came back to him and said, you really got to write something realistic that you want to be, not a football player. That teacher kept that questionnaire and went to the Rockies-Giants game this year in San Francisco and had Tulo sign it, since he's a professional baseball player. And he said from here on in, he'll never tell his students that you can't do what you dream about. As Tulo steps into the plate, back up to you guys.
Mark, I don't understand the story. He's not a player. He doesn't play football. He plays baseball. The teacher was right.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, speaking of football, tonight after the postgame, Matt Holliday under the spotlight. There's a guy that could have played football.
Well, I'm sure with the athletic ability of Tulowitzki, he could have played anything he wanted. And I know that guy could have played football. In fact, when he came out of high school, the two top high school quarterbacks in the country that year, Carson Palmer and Matt Holliday. You know what? Just to finish what Mark was talking about in that story of Tulowitzki. Why, as a parent, why, as a teacher, would you ever try to quash a kid's dreams? Especially, you know, a kid, especially a young kid. He wants to say he wants to be a baseball player. Hey, pursue it. Pulled to third, Reynolds.
Well, you know, that's funny you said that, and I probably should say, but there is a religion teacher in Tulsa at Bishop Kelly High School, and my son Parker, they had a list of what your accomplishments, what do you want to do, and he wrote ABC, play professional baseball, play professional baseball. She said, look, you got to get ready for college. You know, you're wasting a dream. What are you doing? So this year, Parker went back in between the end of the season at Casper and going to instructional league and said, oh, by the way. And she had him stay and give an hour lecture to her class. I said, well, I don't know if she really liked you or not, or she just didn't want to teach that day. She took an hour off.
Never quash a kid's dreams.
Nope. Let him fly.
And this ball to right field toward the line, and that's a foul ball. Well, you may have to readjust along the lines, but you'll figure it out if that's the case.
Sooner or later,
you make that determination.
You know what? The batters told me it was time for me to go home. You know, and I mean, and it's the same exact thing. And why not live a dream until, you know, they tear the uniform off, or you've reached the goals you want to reach in life, whether it's at 21 or 40. Here it is, just barely foul off the bat of Matt Holliday. I mean, barely.
Ball and a strike on Matt. RBI single in the third. And this ball bounced to Drew at short. 2 outs. Ground ball after ground ball tonight from Brandon Webb. He is certainly on his game. Tomorrow's ball game between the Rockies and Diamondbacks, which begins at 6 p.m. on KTVD My 20, has been added to a Comcast lineup in Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Catch it on Comcast 2. And down in Pueblo, Comcast 96. 0-1 on Todd Helton. Brandon Webb earlier this year threw 3 straight complete game shutouts, had a run of 42 innings without allowing a run.
You mentioned earlier the ground ball outs, 13 in this game so far for Webb.
Just 2 fly ball outs and a strikeout. The other out was a caught stealing. Up the middle and smothered by Drew, and he's going to throw out Helton, and that's it for the Rockies. So Stephen Drew showing some range as well. 4-1 Diamondbacks.
As communications technology advances, so does the potential for danger. Quest provides proactive security solutions so a company facing a threat can remain safe. Get Quest. Get nimble. The choice of 95% of Fortune 500 companies.
2.5 Men presents Manly Rule number 12. You can run, but you can't hide.
Where's Alan?
He's not here.
Really? I told him I was on my way.
That might be why he's not here.
Okay, I'll just have to go over everything with you. I'm going to visit my parents for a few days, so I won't be picking Jake up till Wednesday. Monday is soccer practice. He has his math tutor and his guitar teacher on Tuesday afternoon.
Hang on.
5 nights a week this fall, it's 2.5 Men.
Weeknights at 6 and 10:30 on CW2.
Wouldn't you love a Suzuki with 95 cubic feet of cargo space? The 2007 Suzuki XL7 with more cargo volume than Pilot. How would you like a Suzuki with a state-of-the-art navigation system?
In 500 feet, turn right.
The Suzuki XL7 with America's #1 warranty. It's going to be a great ride. And now, for a limited time, lease the all-wheel drive Suzuki XL7 starting at $259 a month. Hurry in.
Tonight's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. The Rockies have made a change on the hill. Ryan Spire in the 7th takes over for Jeff Francis.
Francis 7 hits, 4 runs given up in the ball game. 19th game for Spire to get into it. And he has really been an integral part of that bullpen in this 10-11 game win streak because of what he has been able to do in tight situations. And now he's being asked to come out in a 3-run deficit, hold it right there, and allow this offense to jump in and try to get after Brandon Webb.
Ball and a strike on Chris Young. 1 for 3. Singled and stole a base in the 5th inning. Been 1 home run in the ball game. 2-run shot off the bat of Connor Jackson in the 3rd. 6-0 Cubs now leading Cincinnati in the 9th inning. Cubs look like they're going to the postseason, George.
A lot of their scouts here scouting Arizona Diamondbacks and the Rockies because of which way it may have to go and who they may have to play.
The Phils leading 6-0 in the 8th inning at home against Washington. The Mets in the 7th trailing at home to Florida 7-4. So Philly may be in first place in the NL East in an hour or so. Here comes Corey, and he'll make the catch. Still 3-3 in the 5th, San Diego and Milwaukee. Visit your Colorado Chevy dealer during the Chevy Time to Buy sale. Get a Silverado Crew Cab with 0% APR for 60 months. Offer ends on the 1st of October. Justin Upton is 1 for 3. Oh, 2. You know the playoff teams in the American League: the Angels, the Indians, the Red Sox, and the Yankees.
I guess the Yankees trying to decide if Roger Clemens could go in what, Tuesday or Wednesday. He's going to throw a simulated game down in Tampa at their minor league complex. You see if he's ready to go, but they still have Pettit. Mussina's pitched well of late.
Philip Hughes pitched well yesterday.
Yeah, Wang, of course, everybody forgets about him. Except all the hitters in the American League to try to raise that hard sinker up in here.
Hopped up Matsui territory, 2 outs. The Rockies are going to have to try to raise that sinker of Brandon Webb here soon.
Well, you're starting to run out of time. I mean, you got 9 outs to try to put 3 on the board, and this offense has been so good for so long that get a couple of guys on the long ball, put together 4 or 5 singles in a row, add that pressure. And again, I mean, the plays they have made defensively, the Rockies were making over that 11-game win streak. You know, the play Drew just made on Helton on a dive up the middle on a ground ball.
Burns lines it, and it's off the glove of Atkins, and Burns is going to get the second. Aspire better cover third. Now Tulowitzki getting there. Nobody was around the third base bag for a moment, so it's a double off of Atkins' glove.
4 right-handed bats right at the top of the lineup, so that allows Spire to stay in this ball game. You're right. Look at that ball hook, though, away from Atkins. Still a play that seemed to be hit off the end of the glove, get off into that area behind the tarp, and allowed Eric Burns. You know, I watched him going first to second. I'm amazed. I didn't see that kind of speed out of him when he was in a Rockies uniform, but he makes that turn. He's flying pretty good once he gets it going. Extremely good. And don't fall asleep with him at second base either.
Now, right now would be a good play for him to run. 2 outs.
Wouldn't surprise me, though. He did it in Arizona twice.
Connor Jackson at the plate. 1 for 2 and a walk. 2-run home run. Slider for a strike.
Well, watch as he comes out of the box and sees it get off that line now. Not particularly really long strides, but short, choppy, quick strides to gain the position he needs to be in.
Got the head bobbing. Gets where he's going quickly. Burns is now second in single-season stolen bases for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The only guy to steal more in a single season, Tony Womack. Burns has 49. Womack stole 72 back in 1999. Tony was a Rocky briefly. And there he goes. George, I apologize. You're right. Didn't think he'd be trying to swipe third with 2 outs and a big bat at the plate.
Well, notice that no one else does either. That's why he took it as a perfect opportunity to take off.
That's his 50th stolen base.
A little bit of a walking lead. Anytime you come deep from behind the bag, it appears that you're a lot shorter than you are. You know, and as you're walking towards the guy, then you can just take off. He doesn't recognize the distance.
3-1. Only 50 bags. He's been caught only 7 times. Spire's got to make a pitch here, and he walks Jackson, and that'll bring up Mark Reynolds, who is 2 for 3, a single and a double, and that'll bring Bob Apodaca to the mound.
This really quick visit by Apodaca, just try to get him on target on line, and what he may want to try to do with Reynolds in this game.
Tonight's game sponsored by Fidelity Investments. Visit an agent today in Denver, Broomfield, or Lone Tree.
Well, if Bob's still out there, I'll tell the baseball fans how you can change a kid's life. Become a sports buddy. Learn more at denversportsbuddies.com. Freeway Ford proudly supports Sports Buddies. Check out all the great deals at cheaperfords.com. Freeway Ford and Denver Sports Buddies. It's game time. I felt the lefty warming up in the Rockies bullpen, but it's righty-righty, and I know his efficiency against the right-handers has been very good throughout the year. And I'd like to see Spire get out of this mess, 1st and 3rd right now.
That's frozen.
More confidence in the slider right now to throw it for a strike than he has had with his fastball. And what you look for is for a hitter that little buckle. When you see his hands relax and the top half fall backwards. He didn't get a good read on the slider. There it is, a little bit more velocity and a little tighter break at 79 miles an hour from Spire. To catch a little bit more of the plate, you probably convince him to take the swing at the pitch. But you added velocity. I know it's 1 more mile an hour, but you just pulled it that much harder out front. When you do that, that's when you get the big snap and difficult to keep it inside the strike zone as consistently as you'd like to.
Three and one on Mark Reynolds. Imperative that the Rockies find a way out of this mess. First and third, 2 outs. It is 4-1 already, Arizona. Webb has been terrific. Can't fall behind by any more. Now they're loaded up for Snyder.
I felt the only one warming up down in the bullpen. Clint going to let righty go on righty, and then Drew's in the on-deck circle. 273 on the season with the bases loaded for Snyder.
Strike one.
Not a very good look at the slider either. 5 of the last 6 pitches have been sliders. 4 of those 6 have not been in the strike zone.
Here's the 0-1, and that's low. 1-1.
Yeah, see, that's when Spire has been able to come in and work out of these situations, it's been good command with his hard slider and then fastball away on the outside corner. The command of the fastball has not been there so far.
Now he's ahead. A ball and 2 strikes.
Fans trying to get each other pumped up in here with the Rockies trailing 4-1 to complete this inning and get out of this. It's been a while, Drew, since you've seen this crowd like this on its feet in the 7th inning of a ball game at Coors Field.
It most certainly has. Here's the 1-2. And the slider, a foul tip off the glove of Torrealba. Rockies in the bottom of the 7th will have Atkins, Hop, and Torrealba to face Brandon Webb.
And there's the slider again as it starts to break away just underneath the baseball. Snyder was on the Hyundai cam. A good look at it there.
Poke to right field. Hop is right there. Whoa. Reach up. Almost overran it. So Arizona leaves the bases loaded. No damage done. Stretch time at Coors Field. 4-1 D-backs.
I'm not saying he's better. I think he's the key.
Expert commentary.
This is a violent, dangerous sport.
Hard-hitting analysis.
You need an intimidating running back who's going to go out there and be determined.
Football Playbook, Wednesday at 10.
Flying out of Denver for business? Southwest Airlines is the fastest growing airline in Denver. We offer nonstop flights to Baltimore, Washington, Chicago Midway, Houston Hobby, Oakland, Orlando, and other destinations across the country. Check out our new service to Oklahoma City for $69 and Seattle-Tacoma for $89 starting November 4th.
You are now free to move about the country.
Of all the people in the world, there's only one you, and you relate to the world in your own way. The information you gather, the stories you share, the connections you make. Quest connects you to what matters, your way. We help you build a customized bundle with the quality services you need at a price that's right for you. Consider a bundle with a local phone package and broadband for as low as $57 a month. Call today for a free account review. Let us help you build your bundle. That's our spirit of service.
Get a suit that fits. Men's Warehouse has suits starting at only $200. You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Hi, I'm Drew Goodman. Everyone thinks of AMCO when they have a transmission problem, but did you know they can fix about any problem your car might have? For your complete car care needs, think of my good friends at AMCO first. AMCO, AA, MCO.